Michael Cohen took the stand as the prosecution's star witness in Donald Trump's hush money trial and revealed private conversations he had with Trump about that hush money payment. And Trump held a rally in New Jersey where he attacked the prosecutor, slammed Bruce Springsteen, and praised, let me see here, Hannibal Lecter. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. You know, I'll admit, when I first heard about Trump's rally in New Jersey, I thought, hey, maybe the guy's finally chilling out a little, because this is the headline I saw from the New York Times. Away from the confines of a courtroom, Trump rallies beachside at the Jersey Shore. Why does every New York Times headline about Trump sound like an old-timey newsreel? Away from the confines of the courtroom, Trump rallies beachside at the Jersey Shore. Watch your French fries, Donald Trump. Those seagulls are mighty hungry. Seriously, New York Times, what are you doing? That headline sounds less like a description of a wannabe dictator who's been indicted 4 times and more like one of Carrie's columns from Sex and the City. Away from the confines of the Manhattan dating scene, I was able to rediscover myself beachside at the Jersey Shore. Much like the oysters I had for lunch, I was finally coming out of my shell. So the headline made it sound pretty innocuous. Let's see what Trump was talking about at this picturesque beachside rally.
I've come here from New York, where I'm being forced to endure a Biden show trial, all done by Biden, carried out by Ray. That's right, all being done by him. Hot dogs. Let's talk about hot dogs. I just had one, actually. I just had one. It was very good. I just had a hot dog, and it was very good. If some of these wackos came along, you know, these liberal singers said, actually vote for me. You know, they all vote for me. They say, oh, Trump, I don't know. You know, like Bruce Springsteen. We have a much bigger crowd than Bruce Springsteen, right? Much bigger. I've been indicted more than the great Alphonse Capone. Scarface. Silence of the Lambs. Has anyone ever seen a Silence of the Lambs? The late, great Hannibal Lecter. He's a wonderful man.
I know we take chunks of his speeches and put them in a closer look, but is he taking chunks of closer looks and just putting them in his speeches now? The whole time I was watching that, I was thinking, is that a bit we did? The late, great Hannibal Lecter, we did that about him. All right, well, let's see if we can get him to say this the next time out. The late, great Hannibal Lecter, he came up to me once, big cannibal, strong cannibal. Tears pouring down from his eyes onto the face he was eating. And he said to me, Mr. Trump, sir, I would never take a bite out of you because you have too much gristle. So if you're keeping track, though, why would you? Springsteen and the district attorney are bad, but Scarface, Hannibal Lecter, and hot dogs are good. Seriously, who the hell goes to New Jersey and attacks Bruce Springsteen? What's next on your cross-country insult tour? You're gonna go to Boston and attack Ben Affleck while you drink Starbucks in a Yankees hat? But as far as singers go, that was not the only weird thing Trump said at his rally.
Frank Sinatra told me a long time ago, never eat before you perform. I said, I'm not performing, I'm a politician, if you can believe it.
No, I can't believe it, because, and here's why, because Frank Sinatra died in 1998 and you became a politician in 2015, so that conversation didn't happen. And what would the context be for that anyway? Under what circumstances would Frank Sinatra be talking to Donald Trump, and his main advice for Trump, who again was neither a politician nor a TV personality when Sinatra was alive, would be don't eat before you perform? Maybe Trump was offering Sinatra food, and that was his excuse. Hey, Frank, do you want some fast food? It's been piled on this table for 3 hours. Thanks, Donnie, but Frank doesn't eat before he performs. Hey, get this guy away from me. What am I paying my security for here? Trying to get to stage as a guy with his sandwiches on a table. But that was not the only story Trump told that might make you wonder about his cognitive health. He also tried to criticize Jimmy Carter, but could not remember his name. Watch him stall until he finally comes up with the name he's grasping for.
The worst president by far, Jimmy Connors is... Jimmy Connors is good. He's also happy. Jimmy is a very happy man, both of them, because you know what? They want him out. Jimmy Carter.
Jimmy. Like watching a guy try to start a lawnmower. Jimmy! You remember our president? Jimmy, come on. Jimmy. So just to recap, Hannibal Lecter flows right off his tongue. But he couldn't pull up former President Jimmy Carter. And can we just agree to leave Jimmy Carter out of this? The man's 99 years old, has spent his post-presidency being quietly charitable with organizations like Habitat for Humanity. To put it in simpler terms, he's built more homes than Hannibal Lecter has eaten faces. Just take his name out of your mouth, which shouldn't be hard because it's barely in your brain. Also, for those of you too young to remember, Jimmy Connors is a former world #1 tennis player who did not serve as the 39th president. Connors is remembered for many things, including his rivalry with John McEnroe, which is appropriate because when Trump couldn't remember Jimmy Carter's name, I bet his aides were all like,
"You cannot be serious!"
But beachside vacations can only last so long, and for Trump, it was back to the office, aka the courtroom today, where he was confronted by reporters who wanted to know what the hell he was talking about at that rally.
Mr. Trump, who's with you in the courtroom today?
Why Hannibal Lecter? Do you plan to testify?
I mean, but if you didn't see Trump's rally, you'd think from that line of questioning that he was calling Hannibal Lecter as a witness in his trial. Dr. Lecter doesn't know anything about the case, but he told me he'd be willing to eat Michael Cohen, so we are. Why Hannibal Lecter is such an amazing question to yell at a presidential candidate. By the way, that question nestled between two other questions about his criminal trial for defrauding voters by paying hush money to a porn star. For any other presidential candidate, getting asked the question why Hannibal Lecter would mean you're in a 5-alarm storm, but for Trump, just a normal Monday. Yeah, what was happening outside the courtroom was still not as damning as what was happening inside the courtroom, where Trump's former fixer, Michael Cohen, was detailing the arrangement to conceal Trump's affair with Stormy Daniels from the voters. The testimony began with a dramatic moment in which the two former allies came face-to-face with one another, and Cohen was asked to identify Trump.
Michael Cohen is taken to the stand. He actually had to stand up and identify what Donald Trump was wearing. So the two men did come face to face, Vaughn.
Right, because of where the witness box is, the view is obstructed between being able to see Donald Trump and whoever's in the witness stand. So when he was asked by the prosecutor to identify Donald Trump in the room, that's when he stood, and that's where they were able to make their eye contact.
All right, first of all, you can't make direct eye contact with Trump or you'll turn to stone. That's what happened to Mike Pence. Second, why did Cohen have to identify what Trump was wearing? In addition to his financial crimes, is Trump also accused of a fashion crime? Mr. Cohen, what is Mr. Trump wearing? I believe the suit is from Joseph A. Bank, Big and Baggy's Men Outlet. The tie is Crazy Dave's floor-length ties for evening. And I'm pretty sure those are my shoes. Finally, if there was ever a trial where we didn't have to identify the defendant, it's this one. Is the fear a juror's gonna say, I don't think Stormy Daniels knew which one he was. I think she's making it all up. Part of why the prosecution called Cohen today was to establish his credibility as Trump's former fixer because Cohen's account is central to the case. For example, Cohen was the keeper of all of Trump's contacts.
Cohen is saying he was, quote, spending a significant amount of time with Mr. Trump, and Trump ultimately agreed to his contact numbers being synced to Cohen's cell phone. That way, when he traveled, if he needed to get somebody on the phone, Cohen had the number. More than 30,000 contacts in that phone account.
Wow, he had more than 30,000 contacts in his phone, and still no Eric. I'd ask, how do you get 30,000 contacts in your phone? But I bet most of the people Trump's hanging out with have like 7 different numbers. Okay, boss, this is work, this is home, this is the guy at the OTB, this is the guy who knows the guy who will know where I am, this is my cell number, and this is my cell number for when I go to jail. But the most crucial testimony came when Cohen relayed his conversations with Trump about the hush money payment, and he made it clear Trump was concerned about the election. Cohen testified, he said to me, this is a disaster, total disaster. Women are gonna hate me. This is really a disaster. Women will hate me. Guys may think it's cool, but this is going to be a disaster for the campaign. And that's where Trump was wrong. It wasn't just any guy who thought it was cool. It was devout Christians. I may have fundamental disagreements with President Trump regarding the outcome of the 2020 election, but I will defend to the death his right to get spanked on the ass by a porn star. Seriously, what guys did Trump have in mind? Guys would think it's cool, like my best friends, Sinatra, Connors, and Hannibal Lecter. We're going out later for hot dogs. Cohen also revealed that Trump was not concerned about any potential fallout for his marriage if the story became public. When Cohen raised Melania to Trump regarding Stormy Daniels' fallout, Trump said, "Don't worry, how long do you think I'll be on the market for? Not long." Cohen says Trump wasn't thinking about Melania. This was all about the campaign. It's unbelievable what this guy gets away with. He says the worst about his own family and faces no consequences. The worst thing I've ever said to a friend about my wife is she doesn't watch the show. And I'd be terrified if she found out until I remembered she never would because she doesn't watch the show. So Trump really thought if he ended up getting divorced for a third time after an affair with a porn star, he'd crush it on the dating scene. What would his Tinder bio said? Love hot dogs, hate Springsteen, will definitely cheat. Cohen's testimony today cut to the heart of the case. It was all about the election. Trump defrauded voters so he could conceal the affair from them and become president. The only thing he was wrong about was the backlash. It turns out his base didn't care. The MAGA crowd ate it up like
The late, great Hannibal Lecter.
This has been a Closer Look.